Okay, most of the time we'll just do kind of more fun videos, but we'll give you a little bit of an educational video here too about our electric fence. We don't know if this works or not yet. I kind of stole that idea from my daddy. He actually did one like this around his garden. I took his idea and kind of improved some things upon it. But in our area, one of the things that I get hollered at about is I actually remove a lot of trees and stuff like that, saying we're taking away all the deer wildlife and habitat. Well, actually, where we're at, we're in deer zone 5 in Iowa. Our deer population is tremendous. Like, it causes issues and diseases and stuff like that. Actually, my truck insurance when I lived in Iowa City going to school, it got more expensive as I moved down here because of the deer damage. So anyways, we need some way to keep the deer out of our apple trees and possibly raccoons in the future, which I can shorten these posts down and I'll show you guys that if the raccoons become an issue. But what we decided to do is I wanted to make it nice looking, but then also at some point in time this orchard might be big enough that I could take the fence out if I wanted to, or I can leave it and it doesn't look horrible right now. So anyways, what we started out with is we have posts. So the first thing that my dad did, and he kind of welded on loops like this. Looks like my finger's on there, and that didn't necessarily work the way that I wanted it to, so we came through and we cut that out. The reason we did that was because you couldn't get the insulators, which are these guys right here. If you want to show them this, couldn't get the insulators on there in the way that I wanted them to be on there. You would have to wire them on, and it just really wasn't working. So I called my buddy Marshall at Barnyard Fencing, said, hey, come on up, help me out, weld me up some of this stuff. And what we ended up doing was bending a bunch of 3/8 rod that went right around the insulators here, and then we would weld the insulators onto the posts. The other thing that happened is that the welding shop where I got these posts did a really crappy job of welding these loops on. These loops were all different sizes, and I wanted them to be 1.5 feet on center. They would do one loop, and then they measure down 1.5 feet and start the next loop, and then they measure 1.5 feet from here, and then the loops were different diameters, so like none of them would have been in a straight line and it would have looked not good. So these are 10-foot posts. If you really wanted to be really secure about the deer, I'm 6 foot, probably 8 foot, you know, you can go up even higher. The issue then is then probably maintaining some of that. If the deer do decide to clear this, what I could probably do in the future is just run one stepped out wire around there, just easy around it, and then they'll kind of learn that they can't get in here, I got a feeling. Hopefully that's what I'm planning on. Anyways, so like I said, this is what we started out. These are 10-foot posts, 4 foot in the ground, or not, they're not really 4 foot in the ground, they're like 3 foot in the ground right now. I would have probably gone doing this again with 12-foot posts, get them in the ground further. These are, they're fudged a little bit differently, but they're right around 30 foot other than the main gate here. So, which the gate is a spring gate. We'll show you how that kind of works. So we ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different barbs. If I wanted to, I wanted the height, but we can push it down. That, or I'll call Marshall again and we'll come out here and weld another loop of string on if the raccoons are going in or stuff like that, so we can have a low wire if we need to. Where am I going to be missing this? So they're 30 foot apart. You could probably go further than that. I don't know how far I would go. Just depends on how much of that slack you want to have in there. It's starting to bow a little bit, and I don't know if that's the line stretching or if my posts are being pulled in a little bit because they're not the 4 foot in the ground.
It's not bad though.
No, but it visually looks pretty decent. Like that was something that I was trying to figure out, is how do I make it look okay, you know, and it visually kind of works versus over having a chain link fence here, or just like even, yeah, chain link fence, or you'd have to come up with like 2 gates on top of each other, and then it'd look like a like an actual cage. And right now it really doesn't look like a cage. It doesn't look like that. Well, we can easily you know, turn on and off the electricity, and when the patch is open, I'll probably actually take the fencer off. Like that way there's never a chance that it could even be hot for people to come around here and then end up getting in there. You know, somebody in the public thinks they're being funny and they turn the fencer on and then somebody touches it. The good thing about this also is, since the orchard is now in the fence, we're herding deer out. But like one thing that we've learned is working with the public is you kind of got to herd the public too. So we're
sometimes they're worse than
yeah.
the deer.
So now that people won't just come in the sides of the orchard, you know, they won't just be able to walk in the orchard. This will be where people can go in and out of the orchard, and we can control that traffic coming in and out. So that's where that is. So let's look at a couple of things and how we did it. We'll look closely again at the insulators so you guys can see that up close, because this is what I would want if I was going to do something like this. These are just ceramic insulators with a 3/8 rod, and it was bent around there so it would fit in the groove of the insulator, and then welded onto the pole. And they're 1.5 foot on center. You could go a little closer than that if you wanted to, but that's what I went with, was 1.5 foot on center. If somebody was really good at it, if they're really good at this stuff, if they could find a way to make this prettier, I would suggest trying to do something along those lines, jumper wiring it. And then also, if it wasn't like right next to where your entrance is, that'd probably be better too. But having this down by the road, somebody might decide to pilfer our electric fence deal. And then on the flip side of it is that every time we wanted to turn it off, we'd have to walk all the way down there to turn it off. And then, do you remember if it comes?
We're a little bit lazy.
So, yeah, this could be prettier. This could be prettier, and I'll probably beautify it at some point in time. But for right now, it works the way it does.
Gets the job done.
Yes. So, the other thing that we didn't figure out, and we need if we would have done this another way, is I would have welded probably another insulator onto this side of the pole here, except for we did not have the materials. Is that, and we might do it in the future too, that way the insulator could get tied to this, and then they have to jumper across. So if we look at this here, each one of the runs is tied in together with a wire, and then jumpers across to there. So it's all one continuous like circuit, so it should be good. We put a 5-mile fencer on here. These I don't know anything about fencers. There's Gallagher, and these are kind of like the farm supply one, these zebra ones. So this is what we went with, 5-mile fencer. There's not 5 mile worth of wire here, and so it should be pretty hot. Solar paneled, and then just wired it to the post. It could go on it to a T-post, but Marshall actually did that for me, and I like the way that he did that. So next thing is that this is the like rope shock wire. So this is a rope deal here. So if you can see, it's actually got like yellow braided and the wires twisted into it. I would, and I wouldn't surprise me if we don't at some point in time, is take down this wire and maybe put up some high tensile wire, which would look a lot more like this bare wire right here. I personally think that might look better, but for now, again, this is working. We put the trees in, we wanted to have it up. Next thing, this is probably its weakest points here in terms of like the design. Again, well, you kind of had to do some of this on the fly, is that there's just some insulated wire with a spring hook gate that goes on there. That does an okay job. It works. And then to get started, these are what we decided to go with. To start out, they're little ratcheting style deals. They're insulated to the fence posts already. Again, this could be done prettier, but there's a lot of problem solving that we had to do when we did this. It doesn't look horrible, but I would like it to be like almost seamless, if that makes sense. But other than that, I like it. And so far we've rototilled this because I'm going to be seeding it probably tomorrow. I don't know if Molly's going to make me do a video on it about seeding in the actual orchard because we'll need to seed it now. And then I'm going to build a watering manifold so that we can fertilize the trees and water them easily. But so far, after it's been rototilled, and it's been rototilled for a week, and even before that, I have not seen a single deer hoof print in these trees.